Now we're moving into a new section, and in this section here, we're going to talk about principles of success, mindset, health, habits, and high achievement. In this lecture right here, and in the first lecture in this section, we're going to see the 3 pillars of success. And the 3 pillars of success are what you know, who you know, and mindset. You could also say knowledge, network. What you know is knowledge, network is who you know, and mindset is the mindset that you bring to life. And mindset is perhaps one of the most important things that you can learn in your entire life. So we're going to talk about that here in this video. But first, I just want to preview what we're covering in this section. Also in this section, we're going to look at the 4 dimensions of health: physical, mental, financial, and social. Then we're going to look at the mindset for success, growth, grit, and goal setting. Then we're going to take a look at becoming the top 1%, achieving what others do not achieve. And then we're going to take a look at your personal recipe for success, building reputation, respect, and recommendations. And there'll be some key actionable takeaways, some action plan steps that you can take to really start to build your success as a student. We're going to see that in this video. And then we're also going to talk about finding joy in hard work, embracing the yoke on your shoulders. And so this was a stage of psychological growth that I had to go through when I was young, because I didn't mind work, but I was also really independent and I had a free spirit and I wanted to work in the way I wanted to work. And there's part of me that wanted to escape the entire constraints of the job market. And I wanted to do that by being like Jack Kerouac and just writing novels and traveling around and having a good time. But that didn't work out. And so embracing the yoke on your shoulders was an important stage of psychological development for me to come to terms with the fact that, hey, life takes work, life takes effort, and just to embrace that. And it brought me a lot of peace and meaning and success when I finally did embrace that. All right, so now we're going to talk about the 3 pillars of success: what you know, who you know, and mindset. So there are three things, like out of all of my life that I've learned, right? Everything in my life that I've learned, all the people that I've talked to, all of the experiences that I've had, all of the things I've seen of other people and the way they've lived their life, motivational books, motivational speakers, books on psychology, Carol Dweck, Mindset, Smarter, Faster, Better, by Duhigg, right? Like everything that I've ever looked at, Arnold Schwarzenegger's autobiography, Be Useful, like everything I've ever looked at in my life all boils down to these 3 principles. Now, just because these are the principles I've arrived at, that doesn't mean you just have to take them on face value as something that's true for you. I encourage you to reflect upon this and think about it and see if maybe you have a different perspective of what are the factors. What are the factors that make somebody successful? What are they? And maybe you'll come up with a different perspective. Maybe you'll come up with something better than what I came up with, right? Totally possible, right? I'm limited, I'm finite, I'm human, just like everybody else. I only have so much insight, only so much knowledge. I'm not omniscient, I'm not omnipotent, right? That's reserved for other beings, right? Like I'm a human, I'm working with limited resources here, but based upon everything I've experienced, witnessed, seen, lived, researched, read, known about, heard about in my life, these are the 3 factors, the 3 pillars of success that I have come up with, that I've reduced everything down to these 3 things. So the first thing is what you know, right? Like to be successful in life, you have to know stuff. You have to know stuff. And this is the amazing thing about what you know, is that there's multiple intelligence, right? Multiple intelligence. We all have multiple things about which we are intelligent, right? Like I'm intelligent about physical fitness. I'm intelligent about swimming. I'm intelligent about surfing. These are all things I've done. I have those pieces of intelligence through learning, through experience. I'm intelligent about business. I'm intelligent about teaching. These are things of which I'm intelligent about. I have multiple intelligence. Likewise, everybody else in the world has multiple intelligence. And every time 2 people meet, there are things that each person knows that the other does not know. Right? And so we could all teach each other and we could all learn from each other. We all have multiple intelligence. And so part of how you get rewarded in an economy is for what you know. People get hired to do jobs. They get hired to be a professor of business. They get hired to be an orthopedic surgeon. They get hired to be a firefighter. They get hired to be an airline pilot. They get hired because they know something and they could do that thing. And part of what makes you successful is that you know something. You know how to communicate. You know how to talk. You have emotional intelligence. You know how to get along with people and work well with people. Like, these are all part of the different types of intelligence that each of us have. And we all have domain-specific knowledge in many different areas. We all have multiple intelligence. And part of what will make you successful in life is what you know. You got to know stuff. That's part of what makes you successful in life. And you come to college and university so that you can gain more knowledge in specific areas, so that you know something, so that you could get jobs in those areas. Whether it's like being an engineer or being an airline pilot or a firefighter or a professor of business. And I think being a professor of business is the best type of professor you can be. That's my own personal perspective for a variety of reasons. And maybe I'll talk about it more in the course. But, and then also, like, you know, if you gain knowledge in healthcare, in medicine, in being a doctor, right? Having that knowledge in something specific will help make you successful. It'll help make you financially successful. That's the primary way that we're talking about success here, is your financial health. But it'll also help make you successful in other areas. What you know, your physical health, right? What you know helps keep you physically healthy. If you know the right things, if you have the right knowledge, it's going to help keep you physically healthy, right? So what you know will make you financially successful, more financially successful. It'll make you more physically successful, your physical health. It'll make you more socially successful, what you know, right? If you have the right social skills, makes you more socially successful. And I'm talking about relationships and friends and your network, your professional, you know, colleagues and networks, and, you know, your significant other in your life. It's going to be more, you're going to be more successful if you have the right knowledge. And so knowledge really opens up success in all areas: physical health, social health, financial health, and then up here, your intellectual, your mental, your emotional health. Knowledge also helps you with all of that too, because when you understand how the mind works, and when you understand intellectual concepts, and when you understand lots of things, it allows you to have greater intellectual, mental, emotional health also. So what you know is critical to success in life. The second thing which is critical to success in life is who you know, because you can know a lot of great stuff, but if you're not good with people and nobody likes you, right? You either need to start a company on your own where you can make it happen on your own, or you're going to be destitute and you're not going to be successful, because you have to be able to get along with people. And who you know will really help you in your life, right? It'll help you get jobs. You'll have friends who are like, hey, come work over here. You'll get recommendations. Your professors will introduce you to people. They'll write letters of recommendation for you. They'll help open opportunities and open doors for you. Who you know really helps make you successful. And this is super important, because we're going to build upon this as we go through the course. And you're going to learn how you could start to leverage who you know to help make you even more successful. So you become successful based upon what you know, based upon who you know, and then finally based upon mindset. And mindset is hugely important in life. If you have a bad mindset, your life is going to be challenged. If you have a great mindset, if you have a positive mindset, if you have a can-do attitude, if you have grit, if you have perseverance, if you welcome effort and work, and you're like, hey, new day has dawned, let's get on it, and you're looking for the bright side of life, and you're consciously making a choice to look for what's positive and to be enthusiastic and to think the best of people and to be optimistic and to give people the benefit of the doubt and to live with integrity. If you have the right mindset, it makes all of the difference in your life. If you feel defeated, if you're pessimistic, if you're depressed and you're anxious, right? Like, you know, all of these things could start to drag you down. And I say depressed and anxious because I want to share with you, when I was young, I did not have the best mindset for a while. I survived a traumatic event. and it left me with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety. And for a while, when I was young, I felt like I was living under a lead blanket and my feet were trapped in mud and I could just barely move along. And it was a hard place to be. But I made the decision, somewhere inside myself, I made the decision that I was gonna find my way out of this. No matter what happened, I was gonna find my way out of this. And then I started to look for solutions. And I started to learn things. And I started to implement into my life the things which are proven to help move people forward. I found a great therapist, and I think of therapists as people who have studied how the mind works. They've studied how the mind works, and they know what people have to do to get their mind to work more effectively. I found a great therapist and I'd meet with him every week and he would provide me guidance and input and feedback, and I started exercising regularly even when I didn't want to, and I started listening to talks and feeding my brain positive information and we're going to go over some of the resources coming up, so that I was starting to hear these narratives about having a great mindset and being positive and how to reframe, psychological reframe different events, and looking for like what perspective do I put on what's happening. And so I started to do all that, and I found my way out of that depression. I found my way out of that anxiety. I found my way out of that lower mindset. And so change is very much possible. That's actually the essence of what each of us are doing here, is that we are all part of nature, and nature is all about evolving, iterating, changing, growing, improving, becoming better. That's the way nature works. We are nature. That's what we're doing here. And so you can change. Change is possible, and this is proven through neuroscience. We all have neuroplasticity. We could rewire our brain, and whatever your mindset is today, it could be better tomorrow. It could be better next week. It could be better next month, next year, next 5 years, next 10 years. You can improve and you can grow. And the mind might object to that. You might have negative mindset objecting to it about, hey, positive thinking stuff. That's the way I was when I was younger. I was a little bit cynical. I was a little bit jaded. I had a negative mindset. It took me a while to find my way out. I found my way out, and it's much better over on this side. It's great to have a positive mindset. So mindset is the other factor that really makes you successful. So these are the three things that make you successful in life. And I want you to know these things, because as you're embarking on your journey of college and university and becoming more successful, you have to know what makes people successful. If you know what makes something happen, you could start to do those things to make it happen. If you know what makes people successful, you could start to do what makes people successful so that you can become successful. And the thing that makes people successful is that they know something, it's what you know. They know people, it's who you know. And they also have a great mindset, right? A great mindset. And so that's something that's super important about being successful, those three things. And when I talk about who you know, Henry Ford and mindset, Henry Ford, founder of Ford Motor Company, said, I don't know how to make a car, but I know all of these people, and he had an entire index, and I know all these people who know how to do the individual parts, and I bring them all together, and they know how to make a car when I bring all those parts together. So it's who you know that made Henry Ford successful also. And Henry Ford also said, whether you think you can, this is Henry Ford, whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right? And that's speaking to the power of mindset. If you think you can, you're going to be more likely to do that thing. And if you think you can't, you're not going to be able to do that thing. So your mindset really determines whether or not you can achieve objectives, goals. They have to be realistic. You can't say, okay, I'm going to fly and really think it, and then jump out of a tree. You're just going to hit the ground, because there's reality, there's gravity. But whether you think you can or think you can't, you are right when it comes to realistic goals. And so mindset's super important. All right, these are the three pillars of success, and they're really important to know about if you want to be successful.